Hey, welcome to Terrific Terry Tuesday here with myself, HRT Rich, on YouTube. Terry, how are you today?
I'm doing good. And you?
So far, so good on this day. A little bit of, I don't know, maybe a little bit of something going around Chicago. Feeling a little bit funky today. Hopefully, by the end of the day, that funkiness is replaced by something elseness.
I hope so.
Yeah, it's never good to feel like a little off, so to speak. Well, track's not off today in Philadelphia, Terry. It's sunny, fast, so we should see some decent racing today. I'm curious to see how the track responds. Yesterday, we saw a lot of horses come from the middle or the back and do well. Not normally the pace in Bensalem, Pennsylvania, but we'll see if that's the case again today. All right, Terry, before we move on to that, one quick thing. Tonight, no horse center. I don't know what's going on with Sean over there, but I do know that there are some free picks at Mountaineer Park tonight. Went through the handicapping last night and felt like that was a pretty good card. So tonight, no Monday Night Football. You can go ahead and take a look at Parx and use those free bets to hopefully make a few bucks to pay for your holiday gifts, Terry.
That sounds good.
Mm-hmm. All right, my man. So you and I are going to do Parx. Really not a whole lot of other stuff to talk about right now so far. So you know what? Let's just get to work.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good to me. It's 6 furlongs. It's a maiden claiming $25,000 claiming price with a purse at $26,000 for maidens 3-year-olds and upward.
Yeah, yesterday we had a mile and 70-yard fest. Got a couple of those today too, but today is a festival of 6 furlong races for the most part, Terry.
All right.
At 6 furlong, stalkers, they tend to do okay. A bunch of horses go wire to wire, though. 37 out of 100. Post positions 1 through 7, they play fair, Terry. 8 and out gets a little bit of a bonus. We do some simulations around here for race number 1. You see, we'll scratch the 2-horse. 1,000 simulations using speed figures to see what we calculate to be fair odds to be. We want post-time odds to be higher than our simulation odds, creating value. Par plus, based upon our 1,000 simulations, how many times a horse runs a speed figure above par for the level. You'll see here on the Brisnet sheets, the speed level. Par for here is 79. That means 79, 43% of the time. And our simulations chasing stardom top that number. Also looking at early speed. It's a big factor in American racing. Based upon 1,000 simulations, the percent chance one has the lead at the quarter-mile marker and how fast they're going, whether or not that is going to match or mirror their winning efforts. The higher the C-zone, the more comfortable they will be with today's pace, Terry. Who's going to do what here?
Well, you see that 5 has the most speed in here, along with the 3. And then as far as the overlays, that 3 has an overlay of from about 7 to 5 to about 5 to 1. The 7 has an overlay of around almost 9 to 2 7 to 2 versus 9 to 2. As far as the par numbers go, that 3 has the best par numbers, followed up by the 5 and the 7. And C-zones, we have the 1, 5, 4, and 6 with fairly decent C-zone numbers.
And right now, the bettors are counting on that speed coming through today. Terry, is Tatum is your 8-5 favorite at the moment. One of the other things that we like to do around here is mess things up, Terry. And I didn't have the right page open, but I do now. We do some pace handicapping. You can see, looking at this race, Terry, it's pretty even. 2 horses want to go to the front. 2 want to pressure. The 6 and 7 so far, they haven't been close and not been within 5 lengths of the leader at the finish wire. So maybe you just take the 1, the 3, the 4, and the 5 and box them together and call it a day. But if you want speed early on, it does look like the 5, Tatum, it's a little bit of an advantage over the pressing horse. So I'd expect the 5 to get to the lead, the 3 to sit maybe second or third. They come down the stretch, running for home. The late speed belongs to the 3-horse, Chasing Stardom, tied with Crack the Code. Another one that wants to be up front, but its pace might not put it there. And front runners that don't get the lead tend to get discouraged. And then finally, our top total pace horse, the 3 and the 5, standing about 8 and 10 points above the rest of the field, Terry. This looks like some combination of 3 and 5 in the exacta, and that's exactly how we have it.
That's right. I like the 3, Chasing Stardom, as my first pick. Finished third versus similar in his last race. Has the highest last speed rating, and his best start speed is fastest among today's starters. And he's got a good workout on November 28th. Number 5, Tatum. My second choice, finished third versus Tougher in his last race, drops in class today, and has a trainer wins 27% of the maiden races he has a horse entered in. And then the 7, Lots of Mischief, is my third pick. Switches the high percentage winning jockey and trainer. And then I like the 4, Raised Roof Charlie. His trainer wins 23% of the races that when he brings a horse back after being off 90 to plus days. That's my long shot. I'll play a dollar daily double, the 3, the 5, and because of all the scratches in the second race, I just went all 1, 2, 6, 7.
So Terry Barry Knight says today he needs a big winner, $500 win bet today, Terry, to pay off those Xmas bills. And also Mustafa wants to know who's the best bet today. So I guess you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone, as they say, with that pick of yours. I'm not really one that does the best bets of the day, but I have a couple in here that I like by themselves. I like the 3 here by itself, Terry. That's why I singled it in my daily double here, Chasing Stardom. According to Andrew Beyer, the creator of the Beyer speed figure, when a horse runs a speed figure in its last race that's 3 points or more than any other horse in the field, it's one that you have to identify. It ran 4 points better than the next closest horse in the field and also has the most back class. So most recent form and the best back form. Number 5, Tatum, going to be your pace setter in here, Terry. Strong C-zone, par plus score, consistent performer, and going to drop in class. Could be difficult for them to run this one down. Micro Beastie, maybe the most untapped, upside in the field, only making its 3rd career start, and it's track dropping. Finally, Lots of Mischief, the 7 horse. This is a Ness first-time claim off the track drop from Kentucky. He had another one in here, the 2 horse that scratched out, but I feel like, and I know your angle is Terry trust the trainer, but I feel like the 2 is the better of the 2. Maybe Ness feels like this is good enough to get this field and he wants to put the 2 somewhere else. I don't know. I'm going to go with a $5 double, the 3, and then the 2 in the next leg, Terry. Do you have a best bet of the day? I mean, you always do.
I do. And my best bet of the day is back close to the end. It's on the 6th race. It's the number 1, Gimme Back My Bullets.
A little Leonard Skinner reference right there. We'll get to little Leonard Skinner later on. Melvin Torres, pick 5 here, opening race. 1, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 6. 1, 2, 6, 1, 3, 4, 5. That's a pick, right? Did you go just straight up, man? Look at Melvin Torres. 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 6 for $6. There you go. Solid. Gotta like that. That's really a hot dog pick 5, Terry.
Yeah.
All right. So how long? 2 minutes to race number 2, my friend. You think we can rip through race 2 in 2 minutes?
Yep.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and make that happen.
All right, we'll do that. It's a 5.5 furlongs, claiming $15,000 claiming price, purse $24,000 for 3-year-olds and upwards, which have never won 3 races.
All right, that's simple enough. 5.5 furlongs does favor early speed a bunch. 45 out of 100 go gate to wire. Pretty strong rail bias for Mr. Sandman. Exit night, enter light. 2 and 3 play fair. 4 through 7, a little bit of a penalty. 8 and out gets a bonus, Terry. What do you see in the data for race number 2? Let me pop that.
All right. So race number 2, we see here that
a bunch of scratches.
Yeah, the 1 has the most speed in there, so it should really get there. The 1 has the only overlay in here from about 3 to 5 to 3 to 1, and then the 1 has the only par number in here, and then the 2, 6, 1, and 7. Well, this 2, 6, 1, and 7 all have good C-zone numbers.
Yeah, really not a whole lot there. 4 race field in race number 2. Looks like we got a few extras in here, but what do we got? The 2, 1, the 6, and the 7. So 6, 7, 2, 1. Delete. These guys aren't here anymore. So just looking at the race shape now, 2 on the front, 2 in the back. Usually in this situation, Terry, the speed does tend to hold up. A short field, 6 Beltway Parkway does have the most speed in here of the horses that are still in the race. The 8's out of there too. So just looking at that, 5-point lead for Mr. Belt Parkway. That horse, about a 1-length lead over everybody else. Mr. Sandman, the Metallica horse, won't be too far behind there. On the way home, you're looking at Big John. He's going to have about a 4-point advantage over the rest of the field, Terry. Not enough to really make up for the gap that it might be behind everybody else. Top total pace horse in this short field is the 1 horse, Mr. Sandman. 4 points clear, Mr. Big John. Boom, boom, kaboom, Belt Parkway. All right, 4 horses. Just real quick, what do you got?
I like Belt Parkway finished in the money in 4 races out of 5 starts, winning one of the races at Parx Racing. Drops in the class today, has a bullet workout on November 28th. Number 2, Big John, ran second versus similar in his last race, has a high percentage winning trainer who wins 22% of the races in the second race. Left claiming a horse, has a high percentage winning jockey. Number 1, Mr. Sandman, has best dirt speed, is fastest among today's starters, and the rail post win 21% clip. And then the 7 is my long shot. I like a pick 4, 1-2-6 with the 3-6 with a 1-6 with a 4-6-10.
Yeah, I got the 2, 1, 6, and 7, 4-horse field. The 7th has to be 4th. I got the 2-horse real quick. It's because it's the top last race speed figured by 5. Mr. Sandman, I'm the strong rail, Big Sim favorite, total pace horse, running at the lowest level of its career. And Belt Parkway, been running against much better and has a bunch of bullet workouts prepping for its first race since July. 1, 2, 6, 7, 1, 2, 6, 3, 6, 1, 2, 2, 4, 6 in my pick 4. Race number 1 is on the way, Terry. And they've gone through the opening quarter. Right now, the 5-horse in race number 1, the one that we thought might be on the lead, is actually on the lead, but he's being pressed by the 5, just like we kind of thought that race would play out. The 5 would take the lead. The 3 would sit to the inside. It looks like the 5 right now is kind of pulling away from the 3. So it looks like he's going to, unless the 3-horse is just kind of holding on a little bit, I'm not quite sure. They ran for the opening quarter, for opening half, and 46.5. So they're kind of flying up there up front.
Yeah,
that 5-horse has
fast.
got the jets on today, boy. So the question is speed going to hold up or not, right?
Yeah, that's the question.
Yeah, so 5 is not really, he's not really giving up much ground at the end. It's the 3-horse that's kind of struggling at the end here a little bit, but it's going to go 5, 3, 4, 1, 5, 3, 4, 1, Terry.
Okay.
5, 3, 4, and 1, and the 5-horse going off at 6-5.
Yeah, he won easily too.
Yeah, he just got out to the lead and really never gave it up, right?
Yeah.
And if you look at those fractions, 22 and 3, not the slowest fractions, and then 46 and 3, pretty quick, even for 6 furlongs at Parx. So maybe whatever they did to the track overnight because of all the wetness in it is going to make the track play a lot faster today.
Could be.
All right, so then just keep an eye out for speed. Let's see in race number 2 when we get there how that plays out. Race number 3, we're going to go back to race number 1 in terms of its distance.
That's right. 6 furlongs is claiming race, $25,000 claiming price, purse $32,000 for 3-year-olds and upwards, which have not won a race since September 5th. Claiming races for $16,000 or less not considered, or which have never won 4 races.
All right, so in this 6 furlong affair, you're going to look for a horse probably with speed from what we saw right there. 37% of the time, that number just ticked up a touch in that last race. Go wire to wire. Post positions 1 through 7, they play fair. 8 and out, a little bit of a bonus. And once again, Terry, we've let the computer do some work for us to see if we can find any sort of advantages. What advantage? Well, who's got the speed here?
Well, the 3 has the speed, as you can see there, and the other couple others have some speed also, but the 3 should get there first. And then the 3 has a nice overlay of 2-1 to 4-1. Also, the par number is the 3 is the only par number. All of them, but the 3 and 5 have decent C-zone numbers.
All right, and then our race shape for the 3rd race. What we're looking at here is, look at that, boom! Everybody should be right where they want to be, Terry. Question is, does the 5 get the lead? The 5 probably doesn't get the lead here, it looks like, Terry. So it could be a little bit discouraged. That's Trader's Luck. A 5-point advantage over Kenny had a notion. So that should put the 3 about a length ahead of everybody else once the gates open. And if he can run like that 5-horse just ran, you might not see the backside of another horse. Dixie's 2 Stents and Speedy Bolt. Those would be the 2, the pressure closer type and the closer, the 2 in the back. They should be coming at the end. And they're also 2 horses, Terry, that look like they have the top total pace in the field. 6-1, then the 3, and the 5. It looks like the 2 has a lot of work to do to contend with the other 4. How do you rank them?
Well, I like that 6 Dixie 2 Stents. He ran second versus similar in his last race, has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. Number 3, Trader's Luck. He did not finish in his last race, but he stumbled and he lost the riders, so I'd throw that one out. But he won 3 of the 4 starts before that. The one you said looked pretty sad. Number 2 is my 3rd pick. Kenny had a notion. He did win his last race at Charlestown, has the highest speed figure at today's distance, and his best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. My long shot's the 5 Dark Timber. He won in his last race at Delaware Park and has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. No bet for me in this race.
I like the 6-horse too as my top selection. Dixie's 2 Stents. All of its race internals were better from the beginning to the middle of the end. Going to be closing and the right distance. 3 wins in 8 races. Tried any other distance 13 times. It has as many wins as you and I do on the track, Terry. 0. Number 3, Trader's Luck. Last time out, Paco Lopez rode this horse, and the horse didn't like Paco. Kicked him off the race. Otherwise, this horse is all or nothing on the lead at Parx. Probably going to be challenging for the lead today. 6 races, 3 wire-to-wire finishes, nothing else. Speedy Bolt, the 1 horse, a decent drop on class. Guy's been off since March, but some of the works getting ready are pretty nice. And then finally, the 5-horse Dark Timber, 3rd after a layoff, and showed some good late race enthusiasm last time out. Expecting that momentum to continue today. Trifecta, I think the 3 and the 6 is where the action will be. 1, 3, 6 over the 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 in race number 3. Any $500 horses in that pick for you, Terry? Mix?
No.
No, me either. All right, race number 4 is where we're going to go to our next destination at Ben Salem. I mentioned there'll be a lot of 6 furlong races today, and can add this one to the list.
That's right. It is 6 furlongs. It's a $7,500 claiming race with a purse of $20,000 for fillies and mares 3-year-olds and upward, which have not won a race since September 5th.
And then again, 6 furlongs does favor horses that like to be forwardly placed. Got about 37% go wire to wire. Post positions 1 through 7. Play fair, 8 and out. A little bit of extra juice if you get out that far. And in this race we do, Terry. But it doesn't look like you got to go all that far to find the one with the Jets when the gates open.
That's right. That 2 has the Jets, but the 4 may have something to say about it if the 2 doesn't get a good break. As far as the overlays, the 3 shows an overlay of from 5 to 2 to 5 to 1. The 5 shows an overlay from about almost, 7.5 to 1 to 12 to 1. And the 8 has a very small overlay, just over 5 to 1 to 6 to 1. As far as the par, they all have par numbers, but the best are 4 and 7. And then as far as the C zones, 2, 5, and 4 show pretty nice C zone numbers.
Yeah, look at Fleet Alex, shot to get the lead, top C zone, good chance to run par plus and fair odds. So maybe something to kind of take a look at there when you're going through the past performances. In the 4th race, you look at a race where you got 3 horses that want to be towards the front of the middle. Everybody else kind of middle back. That shape should favor early speed if somebody can get off to a dominant lead. Looks like a Fleet Diva. That 2-horse, a left arrow horse, one that typically wants to pressure or close, can be on the lead if it wants to be. But when you look at all this bunched up numbers here, I would expect that the 8 is the one that's going to probably try to push for the lead, Terry, considering it's an E-type horse. That might make it work a little too hard. Gavinci will be the one that's working the hardest when they come home with that late speed. And again, everything's kind of bunched up in here, too. Except for the 4, really. I would expect this is going to be a pretty tight race, Terry. From a total pace perspective, this race is pretty much wide open. You have all but 2 within 3 points of each other, and all but the 4 within 9 points. That's 1 step, a bad break. You got to steady. You got to pause. So this one's wide open, Terry. Why did you put the number 1 first?
Well, because she finished versus tougher in her last race and drops in class today, has the highest speed figure at today's distance, and her best start speed is fastest among today's starters. So a lot of boxes marked off. Then I like the 6 Rolls Royce Joyce. She did not finish her last race after lunging at the start, and she lost the rider, but she drops in class today, so we'll have to see what she does today. Then the 7 Boca Reality. She likes Parx racing. She's been in the money 55% of the races that she's ran in here and won 14%. And the distance, no problem. She's been in the money 48% of the time, winning 10% of those. Long shot is the 2 Afit Diva. She won her last race at Parx Racing, has the highest last speed rating, and has a high percentage winning trainer. I'm going to bet a 50-cent pick 4, the 1-6 with the 4-6-10, with the 1-4 with the 6-7.
I will start with the 2-horse. Where you stop, I start, Terry, with the Fleet Diva. A Fleet Diva, that horse is a left arrow horse, as we saw in the pace setup in there. Again, we talk about that top last race speed figure being important, especially if it's 3 clear of the next closest horse. This one's a lucky 7. ahead of everybody else. Going to be the pace setter in all likelihood, Terry, here. All or nothing at Parx. 4 times the horse won in 8 races. Same thing at the same story at the distance. It's run 6 furlongs 9 times, won 5 of them, and then off the board in the other. So it's either first or bust for a Fleet Diva. Let's go for first today. Glory Dia, the 1 horse, going to drop in class. Last time out, the horse made a powerful mid-move and showed some better late speed to boot. So building momentum for today for the dynamic duo of trainer Jamie Ness and rider Ruben Silvera. They are the ones that dominate Parx. Rolls Royce Joyce. You know, we joked yesterday about how Paco's the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
And you know, because he rides aggressively, as do some of the other more well-known jockeys. But we talked about in the last race, a horse tossed Paco. Well, guess what? Rolls Royce Joyce in the last race it also threw Paco off. So not only do all the other jockeys not like him at times, but it appears the horses at Pennsylvania don't like him either.
Yeah.
But this will be the lowest level that this horse has run in the last 10 races. The last time this horse ran it, claiming 7,500 non-winners of 4, it won 3 races ago. And I think this one, if I remember correctly, is non-winners of 1. So this is actually an easier race from a classification standpoint than the one it won a few times back.
Yep.
Finally, Awesome Pal, the 8 horse, Estaloni, as we saw in here. If that one can get to the front, its courage will grow like the lion in The Wizard of Oz after meeting the short wizard. If you can get the lead with 3 consecutive speed figure increases in a row, again, Barry Meadows, 15% winner on that angle, and going to cut back in distance. Pick 4 for me. I'm going to leave that 8 out. I'm going to take the 1, 2, and 6 with the 2, 4, 6 with the 1, 4, 8 and the 1, 3, 6. So 3 by 3 by 3 by 3, Terry.
Okay.
All right. Off to race number 5 we go in this 10 race card. A little bit different distance this time.
Yeah, they've lengthened out a little bit by a furlong. So it's 7 furlongs, claiming race, $7,500 claiming price, $21,000 purse for 3-year-olds and upwards, which have never won 2 races.
And at 7 furlongs, you do want to have a little bit of stalker-ish in horse racing lingo, of course, not, of course, in dating lingo type behavior. The 29% of the time they do go wire to wire, but as far as post positions are concerned, this is the most obvious bias that we've seen at Parx. Very strong inside to outside. So if you like the 9 and you like the 1, you might move the 1 ahead of the 9 just because of that post position bias, Terry. So you want a little bit of speed, preferably on the inside in race number 5, Terry, and we do find some of it in there.
That's right. They all show a lot of speed, but the 2 show the most speed of all. And then the 1 has an overlay of about almost 4 to 1 to 8 to 1. The 4 has an overlay from about 8 to 5 to 5 to 1. And the 7 has an overlay 4 to 1 to 8 to 1. The par numbers, the 4 and the 1, are the only 2 that have par numbers. And the 2, 5, and 7, 6 have C zones, with the 2 being the best.
Yeah, a couple of them. And you got the 2 horse with a strong C zone and that pretty good chance to get the lead. That combination's been a winning combination more than once. You got the Cowboy Jim over here with the strongest chance to run a par number and a overlay in there. So that guy's pretty, pretty formidable on those grounds. Our race shape, balanced race, Terry. 4 that want to be on the front, 2 that want to be in the middle, 3 that want to be in the back. Let's see if anybody of this speed is the speed of the speed here. Indeed, Skyhook, 9 points ahead of Golden Wildcat, who's a pressure horse anyway. You could see that one shoot out to the front like we saw the 5 do in the opening leg. That's a pretty good advantage, Terry. Late speed, 7, Kane, a length more than Sharp Sensation, who's about a length more than Cowboy Jim. But Cowboy Jim will be the most forwardly placed of those 3, so maybe a little bit of an advantage to Cowboy Jim. And then on the way, total pace makes the race look. You have, again, a pretty competitive race in here, Terry. Really, all but the 10 not really fitting in. A 10-point difference is 2 lengths. But again, in the course of a horse race, 1 misstep, 1 blocked move, and you lose those 2 lengths pretty quickly. How do you think this race is going to go?
Well, I think it's a little bit wide open, but I like the 6 Golden Wildcat as my first pick. He finished 3rd versus similar in his last race. He has the best start speed among today's starters. He's actually tied with another horse and has a high percentage winning jockey and trainer, The 4, Cowboy Jim, is my second choice. He ran second versus similar in his last race. His best dirt speed is close to the average winning speed. And then number 10, Inspector, another one that's doesn't look too good there. He drops.
It's probably going to be your winner now. You know, you badmouth the horse and it makes you look foolish.
Yeah, well, he's my third pick, and he drops in class today as a trainer with 22% of the sprint races that she has a horse competing in. And then number 9, Bluey, is my long shot. He finished third versus similar in his last race, and his best dirt speed is close to the average winning speed. No bet for me in this race.
I'm going to go ahead and start with the 6-horse 2, Terry. It seems like we're on the same page, a little bit on top for the most part to start the day. This one did run all of its race internals were better in the last race than they were in the prior start. And that also culminated in the top last race speed figure. Been pretty solid at the quirky 7 furlong distance, 7 races, a couple of seconds, a couple of thirds. So, probably more likely to finish second or third than first. Skyhook, the 2-horse, the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar unstoppable move, right? Maybe too much early speed for the rest of these horses to overcome. +9, it's a pretty good advantage. And I think that gets emphasized today. Probably going to go +10 or 11 on the class drop. Cowboy Jim ran a Z pattern in its last race, improving its pace early on and showing some second wind. Just missed at this level last time out. I think it was about 6.5 furlongs. Going to add a furlong, half a furlong today, which would have been the difference last time out. Bluey, another one that ran a Z pattern at Parx, ran 9 times in the money, 6 of those. Only one of them will win, if I remember correctly. Has some good late speed in here, Terry. Getting a half a length extra today, just like the 4, could work to its benefit. No bets for me because I was a big spender today in some of the vertical bets. Race 6, Terry, we go back to 6 furlongs.
That's right. Another 6 furlong race, and it's a claiming race, $7,500 claiming price, $21,000 purse for 3-year-olds and upwards, which have never won 4 races.
That makes it pretty easy for Terry. Again, 6 furlongs. Tactical speed, early speed, 37% of the time. Wire to wire, post positions, they're fair 1 through 7. Get a little bit of an edge if you wear an 8 or out. They have 8 horses in this field, Terry. So maybe the 8 and the 9, a little bit of an edge, particularly if they have some speed. And it does look like the 8 fits that picture.
Yeah, as far as the speed goes, it looks like the 1, 3, and 8 have the most speed. And then the 1 actually is a nice overlay from about 7 to 5 to 9 to 2. That's another one is the 4. It's from 4 to 1 to 10 to 1. And that's about all I see there. Nobody has any par numbers. So, and then the best, let's see, the best C-zone is the 4, but several of them have pretty good C-zone numbers.
Yeah, the darker the green, the better there. Our race shape for the 6th race, if the computer worked, oh yeah, the 1 horse. Give me back my bullets. Terry, you talked a little bit about this horse earlier on. Is a lone E horse, so if it can get in front of all these horses that like to be middle back, could be difficult to run that one down, but it looks like he could fight to get the lead. He's right in the mix there, Terry, with all the horses, maybe except for Por Suspuesto, which is going to be kind of off the pace. Otherwise, everybody else kind of should be pretty much right on each other's heels. Late speed is going to belong to Por Supuesto. Por Supuesto. Come on, Richard. Does have the most late speed, but it's going to be behind the 4 and the 1 when the gates open. Not enough late speed, I think, to get by the 4 and the 1 unless they all go way too fast early on. Does look like the total pace belongs to Lord Uthred and Give Me Back My Bullets. They're about 5 to 9 points clear of the next closest horse. So maybe a nice 1-4 exact the box if you're a total pace player, Terry. But both of us took that 4 horse and did.
I like the 1 horse as my first pick. He's my bet of the day at Parx Racing. Give Me Back My Bullets. He finished third versus similar his last race after steadily and stumbling at the start, and his best start speed is fastest among today's starters. Number 4, Lord Uthred. He was only beaten a length and a quarter versus similar in his last start. Has a high percentage winning trainer, and this trainer in the last 14 days has won 3 out of 9 starts. Number 3, Rex Non Do is my third pick. Has won 2 races in a row. Now going for a hat trick. I like the 8 as my long shot. He ran second versus similar, has the highest speed, last speed rating, and the highest speed figure at today's distance. I'm going to bet 20 to win on the 1, a $1 exacta, the 1 with the 367 in second place. And then I'm going to bet a $1 daily double, 1 over the 367.
All right. I put the wrong race up there. We do have the 4 in there. I thought we both kind of crumbled them up and threw them away and overlooked them. Like we didn't. I just pressed the wrong button. I like the 4 horse instead, Terry, as my top pick in here. Lord Uhtred carried the lead into the stretch 3 wide last time out. Kind of faded a little bit, but still managed to run the 4th consecutive speed figure increase in a row. And the fractions were better. I always like that combination. Your best bet of the day, give me back my bullets, is the simulation odds favorite in here, Terry. Gonna be closing. Last time out, the horse ran about a second faster than it did in its prior start. The reason I put the 4 in front of it is because it should be closer to the lead. Por Supuesto is that horse with all that late speed. Top last race speed figure, missing by just the nose after all of its race internals were better from start to finish. And the thing about this horse is you look at it on the past performance is that race kind of stands out relative to the last 2, maybe 3 efforts, but it tends to run good in bunches. And then finally, Rex Kwando, going to move up in class here, Terry, could be the one that's on the front. I'm concerned a little bit that he's won 2 in a row and only won 1 of his previous 24. That horse is absolutely a peak candidate, but you got to ride them while they're hot. No bet for me, my friend.
Okay.
Race number 7 is the beginning of the late pick 4. I'm sure we'll both have some action on that one, Terry. What are they going to be running for?
Well, it's a mile this time. It's a maiden $50,000 claiming price, $50,000 purse for maidens, 3-year-olds and upward.
And at a mile, the type of horse that typically gets the job done, runs right into the winner's circle, has early speed, 36% of the time, or Jerome Bettis. They go wire to wire. I don't know. Is that the best 36 ever in football? If there's any better out there, let me know. Post positions 1 through 7, play fair. 8 and out, Terry, take a big time hit. So you want to be in the front 7, Terry. You probably want a little bit of early speed. And there is some speed to the outside, but some to the inside too.
Yeah, that 8 shows the most speed, but the 3 and the 1 have very close, so you just don't know who's going to get there. Anyone's guess. The 1 has an overlay of about 7 to 5 to 9 to 2, and the 4 has an overlay of 4 to 1 or 4.5 to 1 to 10 to 1. And then as far as the par numbers, there's no par numbers in here at all. All of them, but the 3 and 9 have fairly decent C-zones numbers.
And in the 7th race, you see they got that 8 horse over there. Cast your net, Terry, a lone E horse. The 1 horse, Working Man, not been within 5 lengths of the leader. What is that right? I don't know if that's right, Terry. But anyway, looking at the early speed in there, my friend, the 8 horse, Cast Your Net, should be out on the lead or at least close to it. If you can get to the lead against some of these, probably going to do pretty well. That kind of fade off a little bit there at the end. Looking at the late speed. If I press the right buttons, I'm confusing myself. Mind Tap and Modern Era, Egyptian Quest, Tricolor, Working Man, they're all kind of in that same boat together, along with Changing the Karma. So pretty competitive in there. Total pace, Mind Tap, Egyptian Quest, a little bit better than Working Man, a little bit better than Cast Your Net, Terry. All right, this looks like a race that a few horses have a chance to win. And my screen just went black, but I'm sure you'll be able to tell me what's going on there.
Well, I like the 6 Mind Tap. He drops in class today, has a high percentage winning trainer who wins 34% of the time when using Lasix for the first time. Tricolor is my 7, is my second pick. Finished 3rd in his last race, has a high percentage winning trainer. This trainer wins 25% of the races when taking a horse from a maiden claiming to a maiden race. And the blinkers are added today. Number 3, Egyptian Quest, has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. My 3rd pick, my long shot's the 1. Working Man, he has the highest last speed rating, and he has a high percentage winning jockey who in the last 14 days been in the money 8 out of 12 starts, 5 wins, 2 seconds, and a third. 50-cent pick 4 for me. It's a 6-7 with the 3-5-7 with the 2-3-5, finishing up with the 1-3-5-9.
So real quick before race 2 gets started, we have Arsenio Martinez wants to know what's the story for race number 2. Only 4 horses in the field. Terry likes the 6 horse. I like the 2 horse. Right now, the bettors on the course, they have it between the 1 and the 2, but not much difference to the 6. So the 2 horses 8-5, the 1 horse is 3-2, 6 horses 2-1, the 7 horse out there by itself at 7-1. In race number 7, before we go to race number 2 in just a minute, I got the 1 horse in here, Terry. It's my top choice. Working Man hopped at the start of its last race, Terry. Still managed to run the top last race speed figure, and that was in its debut. So I think you're going to see this horse move forward by a lot in career start number 2. Clearly, I think has the most potential upside. Mind Tap, another one with a lot of questions in it, Terry. It's been off for more than a year. The works are okay. Nothing. I would have liked to see them be a bit more crisp, and it is dropping from a first-tier circuit of tracks to Parx. Egyptian Quest, the 3 horse, is in Naira, so he's coming from New York, track dropper. Also going to drop in class here today, Terry. That's a plus, and a very consistent performer. And then finally, the 7 horse Tricolor. It's another one that's dropping in class. It's going to be closing. I don't know if it has what it takes to win this race, so I just put it in the winner's circle. But I really felt like it was more like a Tom horse. Is it going to win? Nah. But in your exacta trifecta, yeah, that's why I put it here. My pick 4 is the 1-3-6 with the 3-4-5-7 with the 2-3-5. And then on the back end, Terry, I'm going to single the 9 in a race. That's pretty much wide open. All right, race number 2, my friend. Let's see what we got cooking here. Looks like it's kind of overcast in Philly because I don't see any shadows over there. So in your 4-race field, Terry, for race number 2, they really pushed the 1, the 6, and the 7 out there. They're going after each other. The 2 horse, the one that is your favorite, kind of sitting off the pace a little bit. The 6 horse taking the lead at 3-1. The 1 horse is the favorite now. I think at 1-2. It dropped down there pretty aggressively. And then you have the 2 horse all the way in the back. They went to the opening quarter in 22-3. That number worked last time, Terry. Let's see if it can work again. It does look like the 1 horse is trying to find its stride. They haven't asked the 6 horse to run yet, Terry. So he still kind of has some horse left. The reins are still loose as they go through the turn. The 1 horse is trying to get up off the rail. He's going to get involved with the 4 horse. 6 horse continues to be on the lead. The one that looks like it's moving the best right now, Terry, is the 2 horse. Looks like he's going to roll right on by everybody here at the end of the race, Terry, and that's indeed the case. It's going to go 2, and then 1's going to nose out the 7, and then the 6. 2, 1, 7, 6. We're both alive in our pick 4 and probably happy that the 1 horse didn't win that one, Terry.
Well, yeah. Yep, we probably are. So
I mean, went off at 1-2. And what was interesting about that is the 2 horse was the favorite until like a couple of seconds before post time. So I'm guessing that a lot of people took their money off of the 2 and threw it on the 1, kind of trying to spoof the better.
yeah, that's good. It's the better. I think it's the better.
Well, the
double
best
for
would have
me.
been the 6. Was it the best of the double for you?
It was the best. Well, the 7 would have been the best, but it's a better double than the 1 would have been.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to give me 10-20.
Perfect. And would you put 8 on it? 6 on it? Something
Yeah,
like that?
8, I think.
Yeah, so 25% profit in about 20 minutes. You can't beat that, right?
No, you can't. That's good profit.
Yeah. Well, the way inflation's going, though, that might be you might be able to beat it down the line. All right. 3 races to go in the 10-race card, Terry, starting off in race number 8. Yesterday, we saw a bunch of these races, 1 mile and 70 yards. So we're going to see 2 in a row, starting with this one.
Yeah, that's right. And it's a maiden race, $50,000.
Are we on the right race?
I think so. Race 8, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm in the wrong race. Huh?
That happens.
Yeah, here we go. It's a optional claiming race, 40,000. First 38,000 for 3-year-olds and upwards, which have never won 2 races, or claiming price of 40,000, and which have never won 2 races.
I think as much as we promote Brisnet, they should really give us like something.
They
Anyway,
should.
the 8 horse, the 1 horse Rush Center is in for a price. That's why he's here. And then you see My Imagination is not in for a price. So you can't buy the 2 horse, even if you have Terry's money. You have to buy that one off the books. 1 mile and 70 yards, the type of horse that wins, does have early speed, 29% go wire to wire, a little bit of a rail bonus. Everything else outside is fair. So a little bit of speed, Terry, in race number 8 could work. It doesn't really matter which post position you're in. Looks like most of the speed, though, is on the sidelines today.
Yeah, well, that's true, but the 5 does show some speed with the couple others that are a little bit lower than that. The 3 has a nice overlay from 3, well, but just a little bit of an overlay. It's 3.5 to 1 to 4 to 1, and the 8 is from 5 to 2 to 5 to 1. Par numbers, the 8, 6, and 7 show good par numbers along with the 3. And then all of them but the 2 and 3 have C-zone numbers.
So we saw here that, the 9 and the 10 taking out a speed, that should distribute back to these horses here, the 5 of which catching the most of that. And in our pace, is that going to help the 5? Maybe, look at that. 5, Terry, first money, lone speed horse, likely to be the one that sets the pace early on. The PC wants to, he's probably going to push forward. All these horses are closers, Terry. I mean, just from an image standpoint, you got to pick the 5 horse on that. Does have some of the most early speed, tied with the 4, although the 6 is going to keep a company as well. The 1 should be in the mix. So plenty of them to keep the first 3 in check. I think based upon the 5's wanting the lead, it's probably the one that's going to go get the lead. Will he be able to hold off the likes of Dan Sedini or Steady John or My Imagination with a lot of late energy? Looking at the total pace setup, big boys answer Dan Sedini. Well, all these horses, Terry, except maybe the 1 and the 2, all within 4 lengths of each other. So once again, in race number 8, this optional claiming $40,000 race, we do see a very competitive outing, and we have most of the same horses, just in a little bit different order.
Yeah, I like the 3 more than a feeling as my top pick. Ran second versus similar in his last race and has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. Dan Sedini. Dini. Number 7 is my second choice. Finished third versus similar in his last race as a favorite, but he has a trainer who wins 25% of the races when bringing a beaten favorite back again. And he has a good workout on November 24th. First money, the 5 is my third choice. Won his last race at Parx Racing and has a high percentage winning trainer. The 1 is my long shot, Rush Center. He ran second his last race, has a high percentage winning trainer, wins 17% of the dirt starts he has a horse competing in. No bet for me as I'm out of money.
I'm going to start with the 5 horse in race number 8. I just feel like first money, it's going to be money because all those other scratches really help it out with the early speed. Going to be on the front there, Terry, and should grow in confidence. Dan Sedini had a really kind of goofy start in its last race. And this time around could be improved horse because you see a really nice workout, sharpening the saw since that last effort. The Boston horse, more than a feeling. Nice first race after a layoff last time out, Terry. Yeah, the record's a little bit spotty on the second up efforts, but the horse does like Parx, at least finishing second there. So I put him in second. 2 races in Ben Salem and 2 seconds. So we're going to go 3 for 3. More that would be a third. So I'm going to go 0-2 and 1. And finally, big boys answer, the 4 horse. This one held the speed a little bit longer in its last race. I'm worried a little bit about perhaps it being a peak effort though, Terry, but the horse has performed well at Parx. 6 races, a win, a second, 3 thirds. I'm not out of money, but I didn't make a bet here, Terry, because I wanted to have a little bit of money for race number 9 and race number 10 for the late daily double. What's happening in this race?
Okay, in this race here, we have mile and 70 yards, $25,000 claiming race with a purse of $32,000 for 3-year-olds and upward, which have not won a race since September 5th. Claiming races for $16,000 or less are not being considered, or which have never won 4 races.
At a mile and 7 yards, like we talked about just in the prior start. Early speed, 29. Eric Dickerson going wire to wire. Maybe the folks in Venezuela or overseas and other places can let us know who is the top 29 wearing soccer players. Most of the time, good soccer players wear 1 through 10, right? In any case, this one, you do see a little bit of a rail bonus for yes, sir, Colonel. I don't know how the hell they ever got Colonel out of that, Terry, but they did. And then we also see that 2 and out, play fair. Terry, what does the data tell you about who's going to be where when the doors open?
Well, it shows that that 5 has lots of speed. So really, it should, if it gets a good break, should not have no problem getting that quarter pole. And that 1 has a overlay of 2-to-1 to 9-to-2. The 2 has an overlay of about 7-to-5 to 6-to-1. Par numbers, they all have par numbers except for 4 and 6. And then all of them, but the 3 have pretty decent C-zone numbers.
Yeah, and finally for race number 9, we have our pace setup. Nobody really wants to lead, Terry. So they can all kind of pack up together when the gates open and kind of watch to see who's going to go to the front. It does look like the 5 and the 6 are the ones that'll take that task, particularly tops the chart. Not surprising as the lone P horse. Overly critical will be right there too. They could have a pretty good lead over the rest of the field too, because they're about 9 points, 10 points clear. So that those two could jump out by about 2 lengths. Hurricane Highway, Terry, if it's close, like if this one decides to get out of the gates and just ride right off the tails of the front runners, but that 108 stakes level type speed at the end of a race, no way they're going to hold that one off, Terry, if they get close. Finally, the total pace does say AC Expressway and Hurricane Highway, one towards the middle, one towards the back. Should come on as the race ends, perhaps be the winners in there, Terry. I think it's a pretty wide open race, though. What do you think?
Yeah, I do, but I'm going to take the 3 AC Expressway as the top choice. Drops in class today, has a high percentage winning trainer. This trainer wins 30% of the races when taking a horse from a sprint to a route and switches to high percentage winning jockey. And his best start speed is fastest among today's starter, actually tied with another horse, that 2 Hurricane Highway. My second choice finished in the money in 9 out of the last 10 races. Very competitive horse, winning 3 of those, and has the highest speed figure at has the highest last race speed figure. And then the 5 is my third pick, tops the chart. He drops in class today, has a high percentage winning trainer, switches a high percentage winning jockey. And this combination in the last 14 days have been in the money 4 out of 7 starts with 2 wins, a second and a third. Yes, sir, Colonel. The 1 is my long shot, ran second versus similar in his last race. And his best start speed is fastest among today's starters. He's tied with the horse above the 3. And no bet for me because I am absolutely out of money.
It's broke. I like the 2 horse Hurricane Highway. Does have that stakes level late race ability in here, Terry, coming off the top last race speed figure to boot. So I think it'll be a little bit closer to the pack today. And that 3 speed figure increase in a row angle. Again, if you haven't done so, you might think about picking up Barry Meadows' book, The Skeptical Handicapper. If you're a data person like I am, that guy breaks down every possible angle and then lets you know at what win rate they hit at. Tops the chart. The 5 horse is my second choice, going to drop in class after all of its race internals. Early speed, late speed, mid speed were better last time out, and does have a maintenance workout between races. And the one thing about this horse, Terry, if it gets to the front, might have too much speed for the other ones to chase down. AC Expressway, your top pick. Paco rides this horse on a class drop. My worry about here, so if 3 speed figure increases in a row is good, what does 3 speed figure decreases in a row mean, Terry?
Sometimes it means he's really getting tired.
Or he's getting ready for a bounce, or he's regressing. So
yeah,
that's the situation with that horse and Paco on it today. Yes, sir, Colonel, the 1 horse. Very consistent performer. Last time out, it ran 1 mile and 70 yards. The fractions were the same as the previous race when it ran a mile. So in my view, you go longer, you run the same. That's faster, Terry, right? Isn't that how that math works?
it sounds like it.
And in my bet, I have a guaranteed winner in this race, Terry. You know why?
Why is that?
I went all
All
over the 9.
Just like I did in the second race.
All right, fellas. That's one last race here to go, Terry. That would be, of course, if there's a 10-race card, it has to be race number 10. It would be shocking if it weren't. Once again, we're going to go that distance.
Yeah, we're finishing up with the 1 mile and 70 yards. It's a $10,000 claiming race, $26,000 purse for fillies and mares 3-year-olds and upwards, which have not won a race since September 5th. Claiming races for $8,000 or less are not considered, or which has never won 4 races.
Yeah, and if you haven't done so yet, kindly, while you're here, you see all of our social sites below. Horse Race, the number 2, day at Twitter or X, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Rumble, whatever else is out there where people communicate with each other and bitch and moan about things, Terry. And then, of course, you can follow us here on Horse Racing Radar TV. We got so many different names. While you're here, kindly hit the subscribe button. You know, they say only 1 out of 10 people hit the subscribe button, Terry. Don't be the 9 out of 10. Be the 1 out of 10. Be exceptional. Be different. Hit the like button. And while you're on YouTube, there's a share button. Click the share, copy the link. And with all your friends that like horse racing, introduce them to us because I know for sure we provide data, insights that you just cannot get anywhere else, Terry. At 1 mile and 70 yards, again, you want some early speed. You get a little bit of a rail bonus. Everybody plays the same. For the last time today, Terry, who is going to be the front runners when the gates open and the dirt starts flying?
Well, it appears that 8 is, but there's several in here that show some kind of speed. The 5 has an overlay of about 5-2 to 9-2. The 8 has an overlay of around 3-1 to 6-1. Par numbers, the 8, 5, and 7 have par numbers, and most of these have pretty decent C-zone numbers, starting with the 4, 6, and 9.
Yeah, you got some dark green ones there with the 4. We got any? Let's look at this 5-horse Solomon. If you have them, I don't. Nice overlay on there. Good par plus number on there. Decent C-zone score. Maybe there's a little bit there. Look at this 8-horse Collins Gray. A little bit of an overlay. I got that one. You don't. Good chance to go par plus and a good chance to be on the lead. So just looking at this, you can make a case for a lot of horses, Terry. In race number 10, looking at this, you got the 1 horse wants to be on the front. The 5 wants to give chase. Everybody else wants to be middle back, Terry. That probably means that if you can get towards the front, you got a good shot. Looking at that, Terry, early on, the 1 horse probably going to be your leader. So summary judgment gets to the front. Look out. As they come down the stretch, trying to close out the race, you do see Classy Miss and Miss Shamita as the most late pace in there. They're probably not going to be more than a length and a half off the leaders at the beginning. I mentioned I thought this would be pretty wide open, Terry. Look at this. You have all but 2 of these horses within 5 points of the top Miss Mirabel. But also down here, if you add in Cathy LaBelle instead of Patty LaBelle, I got to like that one. All of them really with a shot here. Within 7 points from top to bottom, Terry, wide open race. So, I singled it in my pick 4 because I'm nuts. But what do you got?
Well, the 8 shows the most speed, although there's several of them. Oh, I already did that. Let's go to let's go to the race.
It's late in the day. It's Terry Tuesday.
Know.
I mean, what are you going to do?
It is. Anyway, I like the 3, Magnificent Pearl. She has won 2 races in a row and is going for a hat trick, has a high percentage winning trainer. The 9 is my second choice, ran second in her last race at Parx Racing. She has the highest race speed rating. The 5, Sullen Oath, is my third pick, finished in the money in her last 4 races, winning 2 of those races at Parx Racing. And she has a high percentage winning trainer. My long shot's the 1, Summary Judgment. She won her last race at Parx Racing, and she has a high percentage winning trainer. As I said, I'm out of money, so there's no bet for me here.
Barry's not out of money. He says he's going to put 500 on the 9. So I'm going to be like losing sleep up until that race and when it's over. Also, Christopher D'Souza is just going to jinx us all in there, Terry, because look what he's got in there. He says that his pick of the day is the 8-horse.
Oh, wow.
Collins Gray Lady. So, I mean, that's just that doesn't do me and you any good on that $500 there, very night. So I like the 9-horse as my single in the back end. It did run the top last race. Speed figure died 10 points last time out. Again, very metals. Andy Beyer says that the key is there are 3 better or 3 clear of the rest of the field. If the horse just runs the same race it ran last time, I mean, the other ones either have to come up or that one's got to regress a lot. And I think if I remember correctly, let me pop in here. The race number 10, the 9-horse, it's just debut race last time out, right? So no, it wasn't its debut race. But in any case, still 10 points higher than everybody else. Good shot, and it's moving in the right direction. You see here that you had some improvement early, middle, and late, better across the board. So I like that one. We'll see. Because I think Christopher just jinxed the hell out of it. Number 4, Miss Mirabel. The 4-horse did run much better through the first half mile last out. Our friend Craig Milkowski. This is why you got to watch our Horse Center shows whenever we have them. He came on and told us the data supports that if a horse runs better in the first half mile, it's a horse that you want to watch on the next race out. And missed by a neck after showing speed last time out for the first time. So it had been a closer, tried speed. And I've also noticed this, and maybe some other more experienced handicappers have seen this as well. Horse tries to close her rate, goes to the front for the first time, does tend to, get up there and then fade at the end because it's not used to it. It's the second time in a new running style that I have found pans out, and that's what we're going to get today. Collins Gray Lady, the one Christopher D'Souza just put the mojo on all of us with, does have an overlay. Strong chance to set the tone early, and its race internals were better across the board as well. Then finally, the 3-horse Terry, your top pick in there at Parx, a couple of times out, a couple of seconds in there. Horse tends to get forward and be close, and then just at the last second, break your heart and fade, Terry. So I hope he doesn't break your heart and fade. I hope the 9-horse wins so that our good friend Barry in that 500 turns into a lot more. And that Christopher D'Souza's best bet of the day just about dead heats us, but just loses the nose at the wire. I think that would be a good outcome.
It would be. And Melvin, good morning to you. He's got his second pick 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I think his pick 5 was, what was it? It was
there it is.
1, 4, 8 with the 6 single, with the 3, 4, 5, 6 with the 3 single, with the 1, 4, 5.
Beautiful stuff right there for sure. Hopefully that all works out pretty well. Christopher D'Souza going back to race number 9 says, look at the 2 and the 3 for your exacta box. Keep an eye out on that. I appreciate that, Barry. Barry believes in me. I appreciate that a lot. And then race number 3 coming up, Christopher D'Souza going with the 2 and 3 exacta box in there. So Kenny had an Ocean and Trader's Luck. Terry has the 2 and the 3. I don't have the 2 in there, but I is in the back end of my trifecta. Terry, I think that's it for today. You and I are going to come back on Thursday. Potentially we'll be back tomorrow night. A little bit of a surprise coming, maybe. So keep an eye out on that on our social sites. You're not going to want to miss what Terry and I might do tomorrow. So if you don't want to miss that, go ahead and hit the subscribe button while you're here. Tomorrow I will be back with Charles. We're going to do Tampa Bay Downs. Terry will return for Charles on Thursday. We're going to head down to Gulfstream Park with the championship meet down there. From now until the championship meet is over, we will do Parx. A lot of tracks opening up. Oaklawn on Friday. You got Del Mar running. You got the championship meet. Hell, it might be December, but the horse racing's pretty solid right now, Terry.
It is. Yeah, it basically is.
Any final thoughts from you before we get up and out of here today?
Well, just be careful. I see there's some weather out there in the east that you want to kind of be safe and keep yourself warm and just have a great rest of the week. That's about it.
Thank you to Jimmy Little, Angel No Valbuena, Bracho. I can't read. My eyes are horrible. Steve Goodrich, Melvin Torres Stigo. Thumbs up on Facebook. We appreciate that. If, like those 4 very smart people, you like what you saw today, kindly do hit the like button on Facebook, on Twitter. Share with us, share our content with your friends and family if they like horse racing as well. And even if they don't, everybody should make a bet once a day, Terry. Whether it's the lottery or you pick a football team. As Eddie Olczyk says, you should make a bet once a day because if you don't, you might be walking around lucky and not know it.
Yeah, that's a good way. That's
a good way to think about it, right?
Yeah.
Of course, no matter what it is you're doing for the rest of this day, Terry, we certainly hope, good luck to you, Christopher D'Souza, that you do have God's blessing, God's favor in all your endeavors. But most importantly, all of my picks, Terry, and all of your picks, Terry, and everybody's picks in life end up in
the winner's circle.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us. Looking forward to spending some time together again tomorrow. Have a great, terrific Terry Tuesday.